Now we're seeing celebrities come out and throw their support behind Kamala Harris. The latest is singer Billie Eilish. She follows Taylor Swift in her support for Kamala Harris. This is what Billie Eilish had to say on X.
We are voting for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz because they are fighting to protect our reproductive freedom, our planet, and our democracy.
We can't let extremists control our lives, our freedoms, and our future. The only way to stop them and the dangerous Project 2025 agenda is to vote and elect Kamala Harris.
Vote like your life depends on it, because it does.
The lying and the gaslighting from these celebrities, calling Donald Trump essentially an extremist, linking him to Project 2025. Look, Pharrell Williams has come out saying he wants celebrities to zip it when it comes to politics. Do you agree with him?
Yeah, I absolutely do. In fact, my most recent syndicated column, Gabby, was on this exact topic following the Taylor Swift endorsement last week. You know, I think back to a line that Michael Jordan famously said in 1990. He was only 6 years into his NBA career. Michael Jordan came to prominence in the state of North Carolina. He won a national championship playing for the University of North Carolina Tar Heels men's basketball program. And once he was a superstar basketball player for the Chicago Bulls, he was well on his way to becoming a global marketed sports icon. He was asked to weigh in a U.S. Senate race in 1990 in North Carolina. It was a racially charged race. You had Jesse Helms, the Republican, a white man running against a black Democrat. And Michael Jordan, what he famously said, it's one of the most famous Michael Jordan quotes of all. He famously said, "Republicans buy sneakers too." In other words, I'm not going to get involved here. Yeah. And Michael Jordan, to his great credit, he actually doubled down 30 years later in a 2020 ESPN documentary where Barack Obama actually criticized Michael Jordan for not becoming a race activist. And Michael Jordan just said, "I don't really care if Barack Obama's mad at me. I'm just doing the best to sell sneakers." That is what these celebrities should do. Do what is best, or do what is necessary to sell your albums, sell your various wares, your basketballs, your footballs, whatever widget it is exactly that you are trying to sell there. But, you know, don't get involved when it comes to our political lives. Don't get involved when it comes to our religious lives or private lives, more generally speaking. You know, as Laura Ingraham, the Fox News host, once famously said about LeBron James in a slightly different context, she famously said, "Shut up and dribble." And, you know, she got in a lot of trouble for saying that at the time, but that's basically where I still come down today.
Yeah, stick to what you're good at. Let's look at Kamala Harris. She has given her, wait for it, second interview of the campaign so far, speaking with the National Association of Black Journalists. This is how she answered a question on how to lower grocery prices.
Is the price of groceries still too high? Yes. Do we have more work to do? Yes. And I will tell you, I do believe that I offer a new generation of leadership for our country that is about, in particular, turning the page on an era that sadly has shown us attempts by some to incite fear, to create division in our country.
Is she making any sense to you, Josh?
No, that's a classic Kamala Harris word salad. You know, if I had a nickel every time she had one of those, then, you know, I would be a very, very wealthy man by now. You know, Kamala Harris has still, to my knowledge, not done a single fully transparent interview with the American press corps. I mean, we are coming up now on two months after the bloodless coup of Joe Biden in late July, and she has literally not sat down. And the reason for that is fairly obvious, which is the fact that she is fully incapable of thinking on her feet. That was why in the last debate that we just saw against Donald Trump about a week ago or so, it feels like an eternity has passed because of the assassination attempt, but it was just over a week ago. But in that debate, we saw Kamala Harris in the opening call 20, 30 minutes. She was clearly just citing canned, pre-rehearsed lines that she had memorized herself. I mean, look, there's a lot to say about Kamala Harris. She's not exactly a public policy savant. I mean, she doesn't exactly know the finer X's and O's, the crossing of the T's, the dotting of the I's when it comes to economic policy or immigration policy or foreign policy. I mean, this is someone who, about a month after Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine in February 2022, she had a press conference where she was trying to explain the war, and she said, "Well, here's what you need to know about the war. Russia is a big country that invaded Ukraine, which is a smaller country. Thank you, Madam Vice President, for your astute geopolitical analysis. I probably could have enlisted my kindergarten-age cousin in order to give that one." I mean, again, this is not someone who is going to qualify for Mensa anytime soon or crush the IQ charts, but that is why the Democratic campaign is trying to hide her and just whip out all these ridiculous canned lines about democracy, global warming, reproductive freedom, all the various other euphemisms. That's all they have to run on. They can't have her get out there and announce what her plans are for 2025 and 2026 because she has none. And to the extent that she has any plans, they're the exact same plans that have failed so miserably for the past 4 years.